full gear, and that lets you save.
Who cares?
True Form Life.
Green lookum.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Taddia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Taddia.
Welcome to another edition of nationally syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. Today, I'm going to be talking about competition. Now, competition is something that is challenging for me as a professional athlete to deal with on a regular basis. And there's a few different challenges that I've been dealing with that I wanted to bring up and I wanted to share with you. And I really feel like this is something that we could all resonate with at different levels. I want to tell you my perspective, how I feel like the world is perceiving competition in this regard. I'm not exactly sure if it's a negative type of thing or if it's something that can help us thrive. So I'll argue both points. And I'd love to hear your feedback in the future after you get a chance to hear this show. So once again, thank you so much for being here. Sit back and enjoy. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Taddia.
All right. Once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening on terrestrial radio across the country or as a podcast around the world. We certainly wouldn't be here without you. I'm going to tell you my story in case some of you haven't heard it and where I am at this point in life and this is in my career. And I feel like a lot of people can resonate, and maybe if you can't, you will be able to in the future. But I think we have kids coming up in sports. We have adults that play sports. There's professional athletes. Sports is everywhere, even if it's, and I'm going to tell you about fun leagues, even if it's something that you play for fun and there isn't a whole lot of competition there. I want to tell you what I struggle with because maybe you'll be able to learn something or see a different perspective as well. So if you haven't heard my story, I grew up as an athlete. I grew up in Canada. I played as many sports as possible at every minute of the day. And it was a craft. I worked hard. I played. I was the first one there often. I was the last one showing up. In the neighborhood, I would go and knock on everyone's door to see who wants to play or if we get enough people together. And it's pretty cool. I still get a chance to drive by that park. In large part, I was raised right around Grandma's house. I grew up only a couple blocks away, and we had a park where all the kids would gather and play. So it was a highly active area. If it was football season, we'd grab a football and we'd all meet at the park, or we'd go knock on doors and see if we can get 5 or 10 people together. And sometimes we had 5, sometimes we had 10, sometimes 20 showed up if it was a nice day and there wasn't too much homework going on. But that was something. So for me, when people are like, oh, you're just a natural athlete, it kind of bothers me just a little bit because they don't realize all the work that I put in at a younger age to play all the time. So I was always getting better. But then from there, as a professional athlete, I always put in work. I was never that great. It was the work I put in behind the scenes, which I'm going to tell you about here shortly. So I knew I wanted to play college. I didn't exactly know I could play professional at that time, but it was a dream of mine. I loved the marching bands. I loved the cheering fans. I used to watch college sports on television. I was a big football fan. So that was one of my childhood dreams. It was always something I wanted to do. So I was always very good. I was captain of this, captain of that. I stood out in athletics in many different areas. From there, from high school, I moved to California and I walked on to college, and I played through college. I played through university. Then I played a number of different leagues in Los Angeles. I signed a professional contract and bounced around all over the US, in Canada. I played in Australia, Germany, and it was a great experience. It was an incredible experience, but it was one that leaves me with daily challenges in my life as an adult post professional sports. And again, why I wanted to bring this up, but also because there's so much conversation around it and it's so controversial when it comes to kids sports and who gets awards and do you play for fun or do you compete? And I feel like the whole competition, like I'm not really sure where I'm at. I feel like it's almost a bad word. Like, do you want to compete, or should you compete, or should you just go and play for fun? And for me, I always wanted to win. It's not really fun. At least it wasn't. It wasn't fun for me if I was losing. That's not fun. I played to win. And that's something that I struggle with now in today's day and age. And one of the things that came up here more recently is beach tennis. I'm here in Los Angeles right now, Redondo Beach, and we have Manhattan Beach, and we have Hermosa Beach. They're all South Bay beaches, and it's very active. There's volleyball, you can bike, you can surf, you can do just about anything. And for the first time, I went out and I played beach tennis for the first time. And it looked like a cool sport. Like when I was younger, I played badminton. I played pretty much everything. But I didn't play any of those professionally, just baseball. When it came to baseball, that's all I had time for. I was obsessed with it. I would during the off season, I would train 3 times a day, if you could imagine. During the regular season, I was always there first to the games, to practice. I was always the last to leave. I was always working. And this was a competition because as we grew up, it was a very competitive world. And I don't even know if words could express how competitive it is. So you show up to a position of competition, like you are there to win the game. And I suppose I'm talking about post high school. Like I still believe high school is super competitive, and most people only play until high school. So bring that to college, and you are competing at a number of different positions in college or university. You're competing with a number of different people for one position. And if you get injured, if you get in a fight with a coach, if you show up late for practice, if you miss a game, like these are all forms of competition that are going to cause you to lose your spot or lose your position. So it's always on your mind. It's always on your mind who's going to come and take my spot, who's going to come and compete with me, who's going to do better than me that day, and then maybe I'm not going to have that position again.
True Form Life.
Before we get into the show, I just want to mention Complete Truth Protein. This is a plant-based protein supplement that we've designed ourselves at True Form. And the reason I designed it is because I felt like there was a need in the industry. Now, when I was traveling around the world, and I literally had a tackle box full of supplements and products and vitamins that did a whole lot more damage than good. So when I started doing more personal training and fitness classes, people would ask me what types of supplements I would recommend. And I always say, eat food. So that's why I've designed Complete Truth Protein around food. It's made with quinoa and hemp seeds. And one of the main benefits that it offers is improved digestion. So many of us deal with digestion issues on a regular basis. It also gives you a natural boost of energy. So if you head over to trueformlife.com/complete truth protein, we have tons of more details, videos, recipes, and everything you need to get going in the right direction with a good quality protein supplement. trueformlife.com/complete truth protein.
True Form Life.
So that's university. A smaller percent of athletes go through college and then university. And then at the professional level, it's even tinier. It's like a needle is what I picture, that little needle hole at the top where you try to thread your string if you're ever into sewing. And I did get into sewing. Our first product was a handmade upcycled yoga bag that I designed myself, if you can imagine. I even made them on my grandma's sewing machine. Unfortunately, I wasn't a great sewer, didn't have much of an audience, not many people bought the bags, so we thought, this is not the best idea right now. Let's come back to this at another time. But this is the picture that I see. I picture that a very small amount of people get through this pinhole, and the competition is astounding. The amount of pressure alone that you deal with on a regular basis playing at that professional level, most people will never deal with. And even like I can even look at entrepreneurship and business and competing for jobs, and it's completely different. Like when in business, will you show up on a field, 10 other people are there for your position and they're going to take one of you. And that's your job. Like that's your livelihood. If you don't make that team, if you don't make that position, you A, may never play again because you have to get invited to these events. And then B, you may not make that, you may not have a job. You may not be able to feed yourself. You not be able to buy food because that's your livelihood. If you're playing professional sports, that's how you play. Now understand this is at a lower level. If you're playing affiliated ball, And if you are drafted, let's say, and you get a signing bonus of $1 million, that's fantastic. Like you're feeling a little bit better. But a lot of people don't know that if you sign, you could sign for $5 million, but that's got to last you for the next 5 years. And you say, oh, great. Well, that's $5 million. Or that's $1 million a year for 5 years. Anyone could survive on that. But it's a different lifestyle. You're dealing with hanging out with people that are making $30 million a year. So you go out to the club and you spend $200,000 and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened to all my money? So a good percentage of athletes spend their signing bonus in a very short amount of time, then have to figure out how they're going to get by. Of course, that's through endorsements and through other ways to make money. But a lot of times people are like, oh, they got lots of money, but they don't. It doesn't work like that. And to be honest with you, there's a very small percentage of people that get that giant signing bonus. Signing bonuses are usually very small. The only ones you hear about are those giant ones on TV because people are like, I can't believe their signing bonus was so much. But then, of course, there's a number of years before they get their first real full contract. At any rate, I don't want to go too much into detail about that. I just want to talk about competition here and let you know what it's like behind the scenes. And it's super challenging. So, for example, I was in California. They called me in Texas and said, hey, we got a position over here for you. You want to come and try out for it? And I was like, all right. No idea 10, 12, 15 people were coming for that one position. So then you have tryouts and you compete and you do your best to make that position. This one here in Texas, I did make that position. And it was a great experience. It was an incredible experience, something I'll never take back. But I'll also never forget the feeling of what it was like to stand there and be surrounded by all these professional athletes. And mind you, I hadn't signed a professional contract before that. So they had more experience than me. A lot of them were older than me. They were bigger than me. And it was just hard. Like it was all heart. It was all work. It was all dedication. That was the only reason I made that team. And I was able to move forward in a professional career, I suppose. But that's instilled in you. That's instilled in me now. Like as an adult, as moving on from sports, I still compete in business, which is where that passion comes from for me to develop new products, new services, find new radio stations, work every hour of the day. People are like, how can you possibly work so much? Well, first of all, I love it. But second of all, that athletic career ingrained in me competition at such a deep level that everything I see is competition, which is a challenge, and that's the part of what I want to talk about. But now, as an adult in a professional career, I look at different ways. Like, oh, I thought maybe it'd be fun to go play volleyball because the beach is right here. I can see it from where I'm sitting. Or we have the beach tennis, for example. So for the first time, I was like, let's go play some beach tennis. And I was excited to get out there. At first, I wasn't very good, but I picked it up pretty quickly. So I was doing well. But the thing is, when I want to win, that's the point of this conversation is that competition has been ingrained in me so deeply. I want to win. I want to win in everything I do. And I feel like that's almost a negative in this day and age. Like, why do you want to win? Or why do you have to win? Or can't you just go play for fun? Like, yeah, sure, it's fun when I win. That's why I want to win. So it's something that I struggle with. So I was playing with a number of different people from different ages, different genders, and like some people are there for fun. Everyone's trying to win a little bit. Oh, they get disappointed when they don't get a point, or if they miss the ball, they're sad or upset or frustrated. It's because they're there to win too. But I played at a very high level, and it was like winning was everything. And it didn't matter how well you did last week or 3 days ago. It mattered how well you did right now, today, or yesterday, or how well you're going to do tomorrow. It was very in the present. You can look at stats and numbers afterwards, but you could be on top of the world if you got 3 hits in a game, stolen base, and made a nice catch in the outfield, on top of the world. Then the next day you go 0 for 3, and you miss a ball in the outfield, or ball goes between your legs in the infield, and you feel like the lowest person in the world. And you know someone's waiting behind you. Literally, someone is sitting there on the bench being like, we're a team. I hope the team wins, but I hope that person messes up, because if they mess up enough, coach is going to give me a spot. So again, that's what I'm dealing with on a regular basis. And now I come to somewhere like beach tennis, and they're like, hey guys, let's have some fun. Let's play some beach tennis. And I struggle, the ball's up in the air, and I struggle, do I hit it really hard? Do I hit it to them? Do I try to win? So this is like an internal battle for me that I'm struggling with. And I missed the ball a bunch of times because I reach my racket back, and I come forward, and I'm like, and then in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to hit anyone. I don't want to look like I'm the only one there that's really wants to win. But like I'm telling you that everyone does want to win at some level. So it's an internal struggle. It really is. And that's what I want to share with you. That's what we're talking about today here. But I want to know from you, like, do you think that competition is a bad thing?
True Form Life.
Just want to take a minute to mention Complete Truth Protein again. This is a protein supplement that we designed at True Form. We believe in food. We believe food heals, cures, and prevents. That's why this product is much different than your conventional types of products. Unfortunately, packed with chemicals, preservatives, toxins that our body doesn't know how to utilize, digest, and absorb. So that's why Complete Truth Protein can help improve your digestion and will offer a natural boost of energy. You can find more details at trueformlife.com/Complete Truth Protein.
True Form Life.
I'd love to hear if you message me on social media, if we put out a tweet, hashtag Exploring Mind and Body, or tag me at Drew Taddia and let me know what you think about competition, because that's something that I struggle with now, and I'm not sure, like, should I go out to win or should I just go out and play? And the same thing happened at the track the other night. We joined this running group, and it was super fun. And it was just a bunch of people going out there and running. And there's different levels. You can go beginner, intermediate, advanced. We had on my other podcast, my newer podcast called Transformations Through Running, I interviewed Shane Inman, and he qualified for the Olympic trials. So we have some of the top runners in the world right here in Manhattan Beach, which is kind of crazy. And then we get a chance to run with them. Again, amazing experience here. And I do some business. Shane and I do some business coaching. We do some business work together. I help him out a bit with social media, and he helps me out with some connections because I'm new in the area. So we have a nice little balanced relationship going on there. But it's fun to be a part of this running group. But for me, that competition wears on me. So I'm like, we go out and run, and I don't love running. Like, I love the competition, and I love being around other people that are inspired and want to move their body and be active. So we're out there and running. So we did 8 laps around the track. The first time was 2 laps without stopping. Then you get a break. So these are more sprints, for example, where I guess track day. Like, this is a new thing for me to go out there and run with a running group. I've never done this before. But the first time you go out there and you run 2 laps, and that was 800 meters, I guess. And then the next one is 1 lap, 400 meters. And I'm running, and I haven't done this for quite a while. Like, I run daily, but it's just for fun, like casually, to get out there and breathe some fresh air and enjoy the beautiful beaches and the sunshine. So I go out there running often, and I feel like I'm in great shape. So I go out there and I'm running with these guys, and we do the first couple laps, and I'm just jogging. I don't know if people are sprinting or if they're racing or what they're doing. So first couple laps, I'm jogging. Then we go 1 lap. The second time around, I go a little bit faster, and I'm feeling pretty good. And then the third time, there's 3 people that kind of jump out there at the beginning, and then they finish first. Well, first, second, and third. And I'm like, I wonder what it would be like to have a little race. I'm like, I wonder what it'd be like to have a little friendly competition. So I'm like, for me, when I played baseball, I worked hard, and I was dedicated to my craft, and I always wanted to know who was the best. I really did. 100%. I didn't care what people said, what they talked about. It's kind of funny in that world. Everyone talks about how great they are and all of these things they've done in the past. And then they talk about, oh, this is the best pitcher in the league. This is the best hitter. And I wanted to compare myself to them. I know it's not a great thing in this day and age, like outside of competitive sports. I don't know if it's a great thing inside of competitive sports, but for sure now it's one of the worst things that you can do is compare yourself to other people. But while I was playing, I wanted to know, is that pitcher better than me? Today, right now, let's go. Who's better, you or me? And then it was the same thing with the teams we played. Is that team better than us today? Let's find out. I wanted to know. So it was kind of like, is my hard work, everything that I put into what I do, better than you? Or do I have to work harder? That's what I wanted to know. So here we are in a fun kind of community environment. And I'm like, these guys are trying to race me. I'm like, maybe I should race them. So, and of course, they're probably just competing against themselves. And so I run, it's the third time around, and I'm like, I wonder if I could race these guys. So I run out, these guys break out, like full sprint. They're running out, and I run behind them. And I'm like, I wonder if I don't know. Like I said, I haven't ran this far in years. And I mean, not this far, like I haven't sprinted this long in years. So I bust out with them, and I'm the fourth person behind them. And I'm like, maybe I'll just hang out here and see if I can keep up with this pace. So we get around the corner, and I pass one person. I'm like, I think I can maintain this pace. I didn't want to jump out and sprint and then have people pass me at the end. I feel like that's a bit embarrassing. So I definitely didn't want that to happen. So I run out and I pass one person around the corner, and I'm feeling good. I'm like, this is a pretty good pace. I can handle this. Then I pass another person, and then I take off, and then we're getting closer to the last turn, and I get a little bit closer to this guy, and I don't know if he's going to let me pass him or if he's going to try to beat me and sprint with me at the end. So we're getting closer and closer to the curb, and we hit the beginning of the curb, and he kind of peeks over his left shoulder, and he must hear me coming. And then he kind of smiled, and I was excited. I was like, yes, let's do this. I thought it was like a sprint. Let's finish this. And I kind of think he was full out. I think he was going full out. And then I turned the corner, and I hit my second gear, and I took off. And then all he said was, there he goes. And then I turned the corner, and I finished the race, and I was first. So it was, for me, more than anything, it was like, am I in shape? Do I still got it? Am I still able to compete? And it was fun. Like, I wanted to see if I could go and win a race or go and sprint around the track and have some fun with these guys. So that was fun for me.
True Form Life.
I just want to mention Complete Truth Protein here once again before I let you go. This is a protein supplement we designed ourselves, made with quinoa and hemp seeds, also maca and stevia. We have 2 different types of products. They both have tons of health benefits. You can bake the original bag, you can bake with. It's perfect for gluten-free flour. If you're celiac or gluten intolerant, we have tons of recipes on trueformlife.com, which include raw protein balls. People absolutely love these ones. We have pancakes, cookies, muffins, all healthy, all clean ingredients. Dorothy puts these together for us on a weekly basis. So if you head over to trueformlife.com, head over to the recipe section. We have all kinds of recipes on how you can use Complete Truth Protein. It's also a vegan and raw product. So if you have any intolerances or if you have any issues with digestion, this will definitely help you out. Once again, that's trueformlife.com/complete truth protein.
True Form Life.
And I wouldn't say that it wouldn't be fun. Let's say that guy tried to hit his second gear and sprint, and maybe he beat me. Then I'm like, great, like you're a runner, like congratulations. That's something that you're here training for, right? Like, he came up to me after, he gave me a high five. We kind of joked around a little bit, and we had a good time. Like, it was fun. But again, I suppose it's that internal struggle here. And we are coming to an end. Before I wrap this up here, I want to talk about the challenge of raising kids in a competitive atmosphere and at a competitive level. And it's such a challenge for me to be able to deal with what's right and what's wrong and what's everyone's perspective and what everyone thinks about what's happening with competition. Like, for me, it feels like competition's a bad thing. Like, it feels like nobody wants to compete anymore. Or like I said before, no one wants to hurt anyone's feelings. And for me, I have 2 perspectives. Like, personally, I feel they should give awards away. Like, I'm not one of those people, and I'm like super like loud about it. I don't care. Like, everyone's entitled to their own their own opinion. I'm not going to sit there and argue with anyone. All I'm doing is sharing my opinion here. And I feel like kids should have the opportunity to experience failure. They should have the opportunity to experience success. They should know what it's like to win first place. They should know what it's like to not win at all. And if you don't have that experience, how do you know? Like, all the time and effort that I put in to be a professional athlete, most people would have no idea what that took. But let's say I did that. I put in all that time and effort. I got to where I got to that professional level. But then there really was no professional level because everyone was there. Because they opened up the doors for everyone. It didn't matter how hard you worked. Didn't matter how good you were. Didn't matter if you were about success or sitting on the couch watching cartoons like many people did that I played with, and they never went to the next level as I did. There's nothing that's going to push them. There's nothing going to give them the opportunity to strive or reach or try to get to that next level if everybody wins. And that's where I'm at. Like, that's what I believe in. I know that there's a lot of people that feel like Everyone should win. We should give away participation awards. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, everyone has to make their own decisions, especially with their own children as they grow up. But what I'm saying is, like, as you get older, you're going to have to compete for a job. You're going to have to experience failure. And for me personally, I believe that you learn way more than failure than you do from success. But if you don't give the kids the opportunity to know what it's like to fail, how are they going to be able to deal with that later in life? How are they going to be able to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and get back in the game? I got cut far more times than I could ever imagine making a team. I don't even remember how many times I got cut. I don't remember how many failures I've gone through. I don't remember how many times I was out. Like, what if there's a baseball game and no one got out? Like, everyone, I think they do that in like T-ball or something. No one gets out. You just go and run around the bases. And like, I guess everybody wins at the end of the game. I don't know. So, but that's my perspective, and that's how I feel about competition now with children. But let me say this. Let me flip the coin a little bit and tell you the other side. And that's, it's a daily challenge for me that I struggle with when it comes to like doing community events, like playing and having fun, like the beach tennis I told you about. It's the same when I was talking about that running. Like, I want to win, and I feel like that professional sport has ingrained in me so deeply that it's hard for me to not want to. And instead of enjoying the atmosphere, which I still do, but maybe having more focus on the atmosphere and having more focus on going out there and being active. So that's the challenge, and that's the struggle that I deal with. And I wonder, like, is competition good for kids because they're going to have to struggle with it later on in life? Or are they never going to have to deal with failure because they always win at everything they do? And then when they get older, when failure comes, how are they going to cope with it? And how are they going to deal with it? I don't know. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot me a message on Instagram. I'm on Instagram.com/Drew Taddia. Facebook, we're highly active on Facebook.com/Trueform Life. That's our business page. I'd love to have the conversation. You can find me on Twitter. I don't use it that much or that often. I'm on LinkedIn if you want to find me there. But I think I'd love to hear your perspective. I'd love to hear what you think. I'm not going to debate or argue with you. If you tell me you're going one way, I would happy to have a conversation with you and share our perspectives and see if we can come up with a common ground that might be beneficial for everyone. But it's fun to have these conversations, and it's interesting to hear other people's perspectives. I think if you look at social media, far too many people get all emotional behind these types of things, and they get so upset, like, how can you say there's no competition? Or how could you put your kid in competition sports? Especially when it comes to kids and parents and such, like, that's super challenging. But I mean, I've been working with, in the past, I have worked with different athletes. We've trained athletes, we've trained whole colleges before. And I think that if you have a child that's growing up and one of their goals, like mine was, to go and play at a professional level or at a college or university level, and then you put them in sports where there's no competition, that's going to be very challenging. Or possibly they start playing sports and they grow up and they get older and good enough to get a scholarship that may have put them through university, which really helped myself. Maybe they wouldn't have the opportunity to go to a university if otherwise they didn't have the opportunity to win a scholarship because of their athletic ability, because they learned how to compete at a younger age. I'm not sure, but that's what I got for you today. That is my perspective, and that's what I have going on. Once again, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to leave you with that. More details are at exploringmindandbody.com. If you ever miss any past shows, you can check out all past shows there. I did mention our new podcast, Transformations Through Running. This podcast is not just for runners, and it's not just about running. Each show, I ask our guests one of the most challenging runs they went through and how they got through it. And I got to tell you, there is not one show I've done so far that hasn't brought at least a little bit of tears in my eyes. I get chills, I get tears. It is crazy. Like, these stories that these people have gone through and are open and willing to share with us. I'm sharing those on social media as well, so you're definitely welcome to come and check out those stories there. But we're on all podcasting platforms with this show here, and you can find us on iTunes and Spotify with Transformations Through Running as well. If you get a chance, reviews definitely help the show. It's always nice to hear your perspective and what you think and how we're doing with the shows. And then more details about who we are and what we do is at trueformlife.com. This is where we do meal planning, recipes, grocery shopping lists, at-home workouts. We are more directed towards helping people naturally increase energy and improve digestion. And we do this through a couple different supplements that we've designed ourselves natural, of course. And then we do this through our monthly membership and meals and exercise. There's a lot of different angles that we take, but our main goal is to help improve energy or increase energy and improve digestion. So if you have any issues at all, if you need some help getting going in the right direction, we can definitely help you out. I'm going to leave you with that. Once again, thank you so much for being here. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Taddia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Taddia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Taddia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.